Hello everybody, hope you're well. I just thought I'd give you a little video just as a bit of an update on what's going on with this one, the big job that we've got going on at the moment. Now for those of you who are fans of the channel, thank you very much, and you'll know that there was no video last week. The reason for that is because of all the things that we found in the first week and a half of being here. It meant that we just needed to slow down a little bit. The structural engineer had to, tweak a few things, get his pencil out, get his calculator out, and we found that in order to do things safely, we really need to sort of push our boundaries a little bit and invade the personal space of the neighbours on both sides. Now all those things combined means that to get back here and give it the Billy Big Licks, we need three things, and I'm pleased to say that to date we have two of those, which means that we can get back here now and we can crack on. In terms of the structural problems with the front of the house, we have a solution and we've got it in writing, and we're going to go through that in a second. As for the other neighbours' consent, we have very kindly been given consent on one side, and we're going to crack on with that side, and then we're still waiting for the writing to come back from the other. All of which is perfectly ace. The neighbours have been fantastic here, they really have. Just some crossing of the T's, so to speak, needs to happen. Get everything written down on paper and signed, but it's all going in the right direction, which we're very happy to say. So I'm going to show you inside. I'm going to show you the solution to all our structural issues there, and then we're going to crack on. Right, well let's start upstairs. Behind me is the main bedroom, the front bedroom, the one with the overhang. Remember that? This is the room that showed its true colours first, where we took the floor up, there were furring strips. When we took the furring strips out and put a laser level on the floor, we found out that it was 200 millimetres out over 5 metres, which is just phenomenal. Now, we've gone into all the reasons why we think that is, and we have a solution for it, and lo and behold, this is extremely simple. It was never going to be difficult to rectify this, but we, as the builders, we can't just do it. We need everything to be specified, because the one person who hasn't had any involvement in this job yet that will have a heavy involvement is the building inspector. And when they come out and do their inspections, all they're going to want is paperwork. They're going to want structural engineers reports, they're going to want specifications for steels, the bolts, what bolts we're using, how they're all anchored in. They're going to want to see all that written off and passed off by a structural engineer. So we can't just go out and do stuff, we have to wait. And that's all it is. Now the main three things we were talking about that we need to get back here and go full steam ahead if they've all got one thing in common, and it's safety. We can't take this roof off and build on these walls safely without them all being propped up by the steel work that we need the structural engineer to pass off before the building inspector sees it. Now we'll go into that in a minute. All extremely simple stuff. As I say, I'll show you the report in a sec. In terms of the extension, we can't give the customer what they want safely because they're having so much ground taken out that I am personally worried that I'm undermining or making very unstable the boundary walls that they've got either side. Well, it's a fence one side and the wall the other. If we do what we need to do, something's going to move, and I'm not prepared to do it, basically. So we just got to slow down a little bit, talk to the neighbours in a lot more detail, and get permission to maybe alter some of their stuff in order for us to do what we need to do, and then we'll put their stuff back. And both neighbours have been absolutely fantastic. Can't knock them at all, and we're very, very thankful. So we've got permission off the one side. So we're going to go Billy Big Licks on that starting on Monday, and then the other side we're still waiting for the paperwork to go through and all get signed off. But verbally, everything's been agreed, everything is going in the right direction. So we're very, very thankful, very, very lucky to be honest, and things are looking good. Now then, forget the extension for a bit, because we've got this issue with this wall to go through and rectify. So let's have a look at the solution for this. The S word, not a dirty word, that word being safety. Now we get called up in the comments quite a lot. Oh, you don't wear a high vis, you don't wear a hard hat. Oh, well, you didn't wear goggles when you're cutting that. All valid points, you got us. We're not going to argue with you. We should do more of that. However, that's not to say that when we encounter things like that, where walls aren't tied into walls, and this wall is leaning in every direction possible, that we don't realise that the roof is actually holding all this together, and the roof that's got to come off, if it was to be taken off, that wall could become incredibly unstable. We know that, we recognise it, and we just can't go full steam ahead and rectify it. We need to take a deep breath, take the foot off the pedal as I've said before, and get the professionals involved. Well, they've been involved and they've got back to us, and to rectify this and rectify that and make everything all right, we need to start downstairs. Well, as you can see from this drawing that the structural engineer has supplied, he has specified 3 posts to be concreted in and bolted to the wall, and then those posts will be interlinked horizontally, and then the roof will take the load of it, and the joists will take some of the load of it, and then the front of the house will also take some of the load of it. Now, how does that transcribe into the real world? Well, here we have it. Now, as you may have noticed on those drawings, he specified 3 holes, a metre cubed, or he said over the phone you can have a trench if you wanted to. The trench doesn't have to be as deep, it just needs to go down to the footings and alongside it. Now, once we got here with the drawings, we realised that what he had done is measured the bedroom, which is 5 metres, because it overhangs, doesn't it? Well, this wall isn't 5 metres, it's only 3. And if we were to do 3 metre by metre holes, well, I mean, you know, you're not going to be able to do it, are you? You may as well dig the trench. So that is what we have done, and we've got down to, if I may show you, the footings, which is there all the way around, and then as you come across there, we come down alongside the footings. So we've got to carry on digging and get that out there and expose that. Then we need to get the building inspector involved and see what they say and make sure that they're happy with everything. But the plan being is that then gets concreted, and then bolted into that concrete are the T-steels. Now, what I mean by T-steels is that you may already realise that a traditional I-beam, or a girder, or an RSJ, whatever you want to call it, are shaped like that when you look at them head on. Now, these T ones are, you guessed it, just a T, like that. And that's the wall, and the flat bit of the T goes along the wall and gets bolted in. And then this bit that sticks out here, they get, let's say there's another one, the second one is there. And then they then get linked together horizontally with an L bracket. It's all letters. Head on looks like that. That bit goes to the wall. And then they create basically a bit of a ledge. It gets bolted into, links them all together, which are obviously concrete into the floor. They create a bit of a ledge. Off that ledge then the joist can come off them, the wall plate can come off it, and everything just gets tied in, all tied in together and all tied in to the ground. Concreted, solid, not an issue. That wall then can't go anywhere. We're not concerned too much about this bit. Behind that, you probably can just see there, is the fireplace. There's a huge chimney behind that, which is basically a huge pillar. That wall's not going anywhere, even though the stack of the chimney is going to come down below roof level, but the rest of it is going to remain. That's going to be redundant, obviously, because we're doing that. And so that the strength of that part of the wall we're not concerned about. Plus the fact there's loads of steels to go into that extension. It's all going to get tied into that. We're not that concerned. We're only concerned about the front of the house on the overhang going out, and the fact that it's not tied in that corner just there. And to rectify that, that's what these steels are going to do. There's also a couple to go on this corner here and around this corner as well. So all just all clamped in, clamped together. All fairly simple, all very, very doable. But we just need them to pass it off. That's all it is, and that's what we've had to wait for. Now, in terms of the overhang out the front, I'll talk you through that now. Said overhang, you've seen it before, and if it hasn't made you sick by now, it's not making me feel any better. Sometimes I have to look at it. It's horrible, horrible, horrible thing designed. Just makes me shudder. Now then, we're going to completely remove that. in its entirety, the front. It's not salvageable. We're not going to build off it. We're not going to add anything to it. We've decided it's going. And then to rebuild it, because it's got to look exactly the same the way it is, the structural engineer has specified real simple, just goalpost steels that's going to come out the ground there, concreted into the ground under that corner. The same on the other side. They get linked with a steel along the top here, just like a goalpost. That's why it's called that. It's obvious. And everything else then gets built off that. Everything that we're going to build off these walls and that is now going to be timber frame, just to try and keep the weight down. We're not going to go brick block, nothing like that. It's all going to be timber frame. All that's got to be okayed by the building inspector. They're getting involved very, very soon. And that is basically it. All extremely simple. It's a bit more work, but it's all rectified. And then all our issues, we've gone away. Those steels can be clad in whatever the customer wants. It's easy. It's really, really quite simple. And then every structural issue then goes away. Perfect. Simple, isn't it? All very, very straightforward. I'll go through the actual specifications of the steels at a later date when we're actually on site, but they are very, very manageable. The problem with some structural engineers when you involve steels is they go proper belt and braces, and they just specify the biggest, heaviest things in the world, and they just don't get from paper to reality very well. It's all becomes extremely difficult. Well, these are extremely lightweight. It's so simple. It's quite, you know, well, that's all it takes. Yeah, it is. It's just this design, which has got nothing to do with anybody other than people who built it 100 years ago, is that poor. But modern day, we can do what we've got to do, and it's really simple. Now then, let's have a bit of fun. Competition time. Do you want a competition? Oh, good, it's competition time. How much am I going to get for this? We're going to wire that copper in. We're going to wire that cylinder in. We've got some lead at the back, and we've got a bit of brass in there. How much combined? End of the video, I'll give you the weights of everything, and then whoever gets the closest to it in the comments, the full price, I'll send you something. I haven't got a clue what it's going to be, but I'll send you something. It's a bit of fun. Why not? Thanks for watching, that kind of thing. Now, before I do go with waiting, I've got a little bit of a rant. Right, you know what that is? It's obvious, isn't it? That is plasterboard in a skip. Well, what's new about that? Well, let me explain. For those of you who may or may not know, plasterboard is now deemed as a hazardous substance. So you can't just put it in a skip with other stuff, because they get fined for it when they go to dump it, wherever it is they go to dump it. So you're only allowed now to put plasterboards in skips designated for plasterboards. Now this isn't new, to be fair. We had to do this on a job before we did our YouTube days over in Worcester. But over in Worcester, there's a recycling place that you can take it. I think they charged, I think it was 60 quid, I think, at the time. Take as much as you want in one go, and it's gone, and then there's all your problems gone. Well, Worcester's a fair jaunt from here, so you put it in a skip. What's the issue with that? It's for friends of the earth, everything works out, brilliant. It's £150 more on top of the skip to put plasterboard in it. So the issue, wherever it may be, of being hazardous and it can't go into landfill or it needs to be recycled, they'll just put that straight onto the builder or the customer. £150 on top of the skip. Now, where's the issue with that? You're doing a bit for the environment. Well, I'll tell you where the issue with that is. If you don't like fly tipping, and it really winds you up seeing it on the side of the road or in little into hedges or something, this is just endorsing it. That's exactly what's going to happen. I ain't paying 150 quid to put it. I'm just going to dump it somewhere. Of course, if there should be an incentive to get rid of this responsibly, not just put it up 150 quid per skip. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So local authorities, if you are trying to work out why there's fly tipping in your area and you don't like it and it's costing you, well, to be fair, it's your own fault, because this is what's happening when you don't have an incentive for people to get rid of things. properly. Now you try booking your van into I can't book that van into the tip by me or recycling centre as it is now. I think it's a bit too long. I think it's on 6.3 metres. I think I'm allowed in our local place. It can be 6 metres, so it doesn't fit in anyway. Then you can only make an appointment. Now it can't be a same day appointment, or you can't make the same appointment. You can't have 2 appointments in the same day. You have to be there for a set time. There's only set weights that you can take in. You're just going to let people fly tip. That's all they're ever going to do. And it can all be rectified. They can be rectified. You have Trade Tuesdays. Right, buckle in for this one. What you do, every Tuesday, you let your tip open. Open the doors to every single van possible. Doesn't matter. Just let them in. They can come as many times as they want. No appointment necessary. And we charge them 10 quid. Maybe even 20 quid. Allow cash. That's too cheap not to get caught with the fines, with the CCTV and everything. Right? So they're going to go in customers' houses, grab the stuff, take it to your place, get rid of it responsibly. You're going to make money, you being the recycling centre. Everybody's happy. Fly tipping will cease immediately. Now, if you run a local authority, you work for one, and you don't like fly tipping and you can't work out why, then do what I've just said. And if you don't do what I've just said, then the fly tipping in your area is your fault, because you're not doing anything about it. Plus, if you do what I've just said, you make money. I mean, come on, everyone's a winner. I mean, you pick a fault in that. Anyway, sorry about that. Right, I hope you enjoyed a little update. Sorry, it's only really a bit of talking, but there's not really a lot to do here now. But it will be from Monday. We're going to dig us back in. We're going for it. Thanks for watching, and get rid of your stuff responsibly. Even if it does cost you 150 quid more.
Oh, hold up, before we run off, I forgot to give it a weight, didn't I? Weighed it all in, it turned out to be 45 kilos of copper, 53 kilos of lead, and 4 kilos of mixed brass. They wouldn't take the 2 cylinders, they'd only take the big one, and that turned out to be £2.70. So here's a clue, it's more than £2.70. Put your guesses in the comments. We'll give you, what should we give you? Give you a week today. So what will that lead us to? The 3rd of September, I believe. 12 noon, 3rd of September. I'll go through them all. I'll get in contact with the winner. Best of luck. See you soon. Take care.